friends, and welcome to today's presentation, which is entitled Being Agents of Change. Being agents of change is one big thing which in organizations may be referred to as change agents. And those people in such positions play a very important role in getting to identify gaps and then champion innovation and be able to see how improvement in terms of quality of product or service provision can be achieved. Now, for this presentation, I want just to narrow it on an individual level of a person being an agent of change. None of us would want anything less than what may be standard quality, acceptable, not in one person's lens, but in the lens of many people in the society. And so at the level of one's life, there are many things that might be pulling us down, the weak points here and there in the different aspects of our lives, which if we do not work on, may actually make it difficult for us to achieve that which we envision we should achieve. And hence the call and discussion today, where we're talking about the need to become agents of change. As human beings, in one way or another, there is always that weakness that lingers around and sometimes entertained as if it means nothing. It may grow to a level where it cannot be controlled that easily, and that may be the only reason that we may end up failing to move to a place where we would have loved to be. And so, my appeal, even before I can get into a few more minutes of discussion of some of the strategies on how to become as an agent of change, is that there is no one from anywhere who will come in to improve the way we look at life, the way we face life, the way we carry out ourselves. That aspect of being casual, being reckless, the I don't care attitude, not being objective, and letting things to flow as in a way that is just to maintain the status quo is not a very good approach to life. And so I will not talk so much about being an agent of change from the institutional point of view, but I am talking about being an agent of change in our own lives. Why? Because I know that it calls for mindset. And when the mindset changes at the level of an individual person, they begin to do things where they are committed to producing only but quality and exerting that positive influence around where they are. Then even if they were to be engaged tomorrow, if we were to be engaged tomorrow, I have no worries, because that which you would have become an agent of change is what you are going to go through with to the organization which may engage you tomorrow. And with that attitude, we will pay dividends tomorrow. So I want to say, for now, just take a moment and look around and be able to see what are some of the gaps that you think you have always desired to change in. And once you have identified that, I want it to be used as a tool or as an area of life where a change in us may actually be brought about. And in which ways would one become an agent of change? A few strategies is, number one, as I've said already, is for a person to identify the weak links, the areas in which they are weak, where they have been desiring for a long time to change, but that change has not been coming forth because there has been no deliberate move towards that change. So identify that gap, grade it in your own way. To what extent has it been pulling you down? And where do you think it has dragged you to? So much so that when you have identified that, you now want to make amends. Then we go to the second part. Having identified the issue where you desire so much to change on a personal level, you becoming an agent of change for your own life, then you begin to put up strategies. Let me give an example. If you have been desiring to make a move towards perfecting a skill, whichever skill we may think about in life which comes handy from the occupational or professional point of view, you want to see, why have I not been moving forward? You're supposed to have an understanding of everything that is involved around the area where you think you are having gaps. And once you have understood, either from literature, from those that are professionals and experts in that area, then you are going to take note of what needs to be improved on. And having come to that step, then you are going to strategize on how those steps will have to be taken. Why you should start with step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. And when you have done that, you find a way of implementing. And that is going to be in a timed manner. A change may not happen in one day, but you are going to give yourself some time. Take, for instance, 1 month. There is a philosophy which talks about one doing something continuously for a period of 21 days, getting to acclimatize and taking that one to be part of one's character. So you're going to take that and start doing it in the method that you would have devised for your own, in your own way, and in the way that is according to the timing that you yourself has said. At this particular time of the day, I will be doing this. I will be reading something pertaining to the perfecting of this skill. I will be watching some presentations, some webinars. I will be getting to have testimonies of those who have gone through the same process and see how they found themselves in terms of rediscovery. They put themselves out of the trench and they were able to recover by way of bringing that change. You are going to do it. No one is going to do it for you but you and you alone. Many of us would want to think of bringing up a change, expecting another person to come and be the one that should dictate to us. And then we begin to follow that in terms of their set rules. And it becomes too difficult for us because it is like a punishment that has been spelled before us to do. But when it comes from us, as I'm talking about implementation of that which we would have crafted on our own as strategies, after having identified a problem, we'll be doing it with joy, knowing that it is the path we should take towards getting an improvement in that area of life. Thereafter, we are going to do some scheduled reviews. I had set myself this target. It has been 3 weeks. How have I been faring? What have I done right? What have I done right which I need to improve on? okay, in this area I have done well, so I just need to keep up the momentum and probably even improve further. In this other area, I have found that even when I purpose that I'll be reading one policy guideline after another, I have not done well. I've just remained with the same crude information because I have not exposed myself to the information that is needed for me to be exposed to if that change is to come in my life. You positively critique yourself without fear and without any apology because you mean well for that change that you desire to see in your life. So then you pick up yourself and continue with that journey. Continue with that journey until you reach a point where you say, okay, now I am here. People are willing to engage those who have made up their minds to be agents of change. When you are given a task finally to do, you should be able to do it with full and due diligence, where you make everyone marvel at your work ethics, at the work being delivered with that scope of quality, without any compromise, because you would have trained yourself away from an institution, away from anybody watching you, but just you doing it right. So when you are given an opportunity, you are just going now to actualize that which you would have already achieved when you decided to become an agent of change. What are you doing? What am I doing? All these small things that look to be small, they care for the environment, they care for where we stay. You are staying in a room, for instance, if you are a student, which is unkempt, disorderly everywhere. You just walk out of bed without making up your bed, without putting things neatly, without sweeping, without cleaning where you cooked from the previous day, without doing anything, and you desire to just come back like that and continue with life. Now, you cannot talk about quality in the way you do things out there when there is no quality where you are coming from. So the old adage of charity beginning at home therefore suffices in this manner. Find time to work on yourself in terms of where you need to improve yourself in terms of quality, because you are the real agent of yourself. The number one representative of your life is your personality. What you present before people is what they are able to see. You don't have to explain much. Just the way you carry out yourself, the way you do things, the person who is goal-oriented, a person who should not be pushed to do any activity is what you are supposed to present. But that starts from challenging yourself. Remember, for those of my good friends whom we are doing the Life Foundation Bridges Mentorship Program, by now we know that it starts from self-improvement and growth before we can even think of anything outside us. You cannot talk about leading others when you have not learned how to lead yourself. It's one of the modules that we have done. And for us in this mentorship program, this is at the core. Because some of the things that people want to rush for outside there are the things they might not be ready to handle when an opportunity presents itself. So we are saying, let's make sure that we put our houses in order where we are the people to do right with or without any person telling us and pushing us. We will do something not because we are being coerced as agents of change. We will do something because that is the right thing for us to do. Those who have decided to become agents of change are they that have staged themselves to be in a place where they are ready to take up any challenge that may come their way. If somebody beckoned on them to say, come, there is this project that is happening, they will not look back, they will not look this other side, because they would have been ready the very moment they decided to become agents of change. They that have become agents of change are the missing links the world is looking for out there, to go and fill up those gaps and begin to push the world in a direction that we so much desire to see. From the mentorship program, we are not ready to be crying over the unbecoming behavior and attitude of our current generation, but we are saying we can be the agents of change by holding hands with those we think need help and move with them, guide them, lead them, direct them, and be able to leave them in a place where we'll be comfortable. And when we look back, if we are to meet them in the future, we will be happy to say, yes, we toiled together. We endeavor to make them become agents of change. Look at where they are. Wherever they are, whatever they are doing, they have become people who are programmed to do right at any given time in the pursuit of their lives and those around them. I pray and hope that we are going to become agents of change, starting low, going slow, but being consistent in the steps that we are taking on a daily basis. What is it that you want to improve yourself in? Some of us are afraid just to stand in front of people and talk. That is depriving yourself of an opportunity, because if you cannot communicate, it is difficult for anybody really to understand what may be in your head. Some of us are thinking of putting up something in pen as writing some books. We have been postponing this over and over. We may decide to become agents of change by creating time to do something, a sentence, a paragraph, tomorrow a page, until we get where we want to be. By the end of the day, what is it that we think has been standing in our way? There is nothing that can be too hard, that can be too mountainous for us not to push out of the way. It all just depends on our attitude and deciding that from now on, I will do things differently. I will not for anybody to push me. I will not wait for anybody to push me, but I will push in the right direction. If I am to call for anybody from outside to come and guide me, it's because I know that they are experts in an area where me, on my personal level, I would have already decided I want to have some meaningful change in my life. So even when they will come based on a certain objective and not just shoot from any direction. Let's take up this challenge. Let's do a quick census of our lives and be able to see which areas we may need to improve on, which areas we may need to seal up, which areas we need to actually bring in quality, the very quality which will stand as a way of marketing ourselves, not just by way of formality, but that would have become our individual personalities. Blessings to you, all of you. Thank you very much.